put yourself in a good state before you try to find solutions and create. So to your point of some practical tips, knowing that we create from state, when you're trying to solve a problem or create a new solution, do whatever it takes to put yourself in a good state first. That's one. Another, as I said, whether it's $5, $10, whatever it is, start putting that money away, because it's you having agency, you saying, I've got this. You know what? I'm on my way. It's not about what I have today. It's about who I am being today that's doing these new things, that's creating new results.
Hello and welcome to the Shift Your Day Job podcast. I'm Brittany Cates, your host and companion on this incredible journey of career transformation. Get ready for inspiring stories, valuable insights, and a roadmap to shift your mindset towards a more fulfilling professional life. In each episode, we explore the remarkable journeys of individuals who made the leap from one career to another. As we navigate through these stories together, you'll find motivation, strategies, and the confidence to pursue your dreams. Whether you're feeling stuck, contemplating a change, or just seeking a dose of inspiration, this podcast is your weekly companion. Tune in every Thursday as we uncover the secrets to shifting your day job. I'm Brittany Cates, and I'm here to guide you on your path to a more fulfilling career. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Shift Your Day Job podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Cates, and I'm glad that you've joined me today. Before I introduce my guest, I would just like to invite you, if you are someone who is seeking a career change but needing some guidance and accountability, I offer one-on-one coaching services, and I would love to assist you on your journey to making that career leap. So if you are interested, please reach out to me via Instagram or email. The details are in the show notes, and I would love to chat with you about how we can make your career dreams a reality. Today on the show, I have a special guest. Her name is Stacy Townsend, and she is a wealth and financial coach. She has such a passion for helping women with creating abundance in their life, and she shares her incredible story of how she transitioned from a boring government job to having wealth that allows her to travel and live in different countries and really live life on her own terms while helping other women achieve the same reality. So I hope you have as much fun listening to our conversation as I did chatting with Stacy. Please welcome Stacy Townsend to the podcast. Stacy, welcome to the Shift Your Day Job podcast. I'm excited for you to be here today and for us to reconnect because we chatted not so long ago and I really enjoyed it. So I'm glad to share you and your story with my audience.
And thank you, Brittany, for having me. I think what you are doing here is life-changing. It is so important that we help people get unstuck and creating their lives instead of living in reaction or in response to the world. So thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
So Stacy, if you don't mind starting off with a little bit of background, like who you are and what your career looked like previous to where you are today and how it's evolved.
Sure.
That would be amazing.
Great. Sure. It's quite an evolution. And I think it's important to start with where I started, right? How I was raised and brought up and what I believed was possible. Because I think that's the key message throughout all of this in making change is what do we believe is possible? So I grew up in a small town, Canada, Swift Current, Saskatchewan, Canada. Wonderful little place, but where I believe that what was possible was at the time inflation, adjusted for inflation, it would maybe be $70,000 a year that I thought that would be going to university, getting this job, buying a house, finding a boyfriend, marrying him, traveling 2 weeks a year, all of that conventional belief. I really was excited about that, went to university and found a good job, worked for the government of British Columbia in Canada, making that money, having all of these wonderful benefits, working. It was actually really good because Monday mornings I had off. Friday, every second Friday we got off, 6 weeks vacation, and making what I believed was really good money at the time. And I was so bored. I was so bored. I had this big, beautiful downtown Vancouver, big corner office, sunshine coming in. I fell asleep. That's not right. I fell asleep. But if I back up a bit, it was really exciting at the beginning. And I was working with people like tangibly together, working with them, the connection out in their home, building families. I did adoption and it was wonderful. Like it was super cool. But then they changed the mandate and everything became paper, right? And I say paper, but on the computer and the paper pushing. And I was asleep. Like I was just falling asleep. So I wasn't actively seeking anything different because I was probably one of those that didn't even know it was possible. I already had what was good and not expecting, not believing it was possible, not believing you're supposed to ask or that you can ask because it was good enough. I was already doing better than all of my friends, sorry, any friends that are listening to this. So don't mean it that way. What I mean is I just didn't believe anything more was possible because it was already good. And then I went on a yoga retreat, probably because I was so bored and that feeling of emptiness within me. So seeking something different, I found this little hippie yoga retreat on this little island outside of Vancouver. And I met a coach. Now remember, this is 20 years ago. I keep very good care of my skin. 20 years ago that I discovered this thing called coaching. It really didn't exist. It was actually 2002, so more than 20 years ago. And I didn't have a clue what coaching was. But throughout our weekend together, this girl, Jennifer, who had worked with Tony Robbins, she was like raw. I didn't know what it was, but she kept saying to me, "You are such a coach. You'd be such an amazing coach. You're already a coach." And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about, but okay." So but I loved her energy, right? She was so excited. Thing. And so when I got home, I began to research and I chose a school, a proper education. At the time, it was 2 years. This was after university. So the full 2 years education, but I loved every second of it. I adored it. But at this time, I still wasn't escaping something, but I was so moving towards this new future and quit the government without really even thinking about it. Having all of the friends, not all, but many of the friends, family, not family, many of the friends thinking, "What are you doing? Quitting this secure, right? Benefits, salary, everything." And I admit, I didn't realize the risk I was taking, right? Because one of the keys of being able to do this for me was I had a lot of savings. So there was no money concerns. I had savings and I had faith and an unconscious or subconscious faith that, of course, I'm going to do well. You mean there was a possibility that I couldn't? It didn't dawn on me. So I think really knowing what I wanted to be doing and that I loved it, and that is what was driving me, and having that savings so you didn't have the money stress, because I think that is what stops a lot of people from being able to truly create and give and connect with people and have people say yes to their services because they're worried about the finances. And there you go. That was the first big career shift that I could, yeah. And I have never stopped. In my first year, just as a moment of inspiration here, in my first year, I over double my salary. And that's people were making very little, like $10,000 a year as a side thing in coaching. Now, so many people are making business out of it. But at the time, so doing something you love and making sure you've got the structure and the finances and the support to do it.
I love your story because it has a lot of details that people can pick up on, right? You changed your environment by going to this yoga retreat and you exposed yourself to something new and different, and an opportunity presented itself that you wouldn't have had otherwise. And then the fact that you were preparing yourself, right? Like you still worked in your job, 9 to 5, and on the side, you were preparing yourself for what was next. You don't have to jump blindly into something, right? Preparation is important. And then the third thing is you're not listening to outside voices, right? Like you followed your intuition, you believed in yourself and you trusted yourself. And because you felt passionate about it, you knew you were going to be successful. And that, like, how, in your mind, like, how do people cultivate that kind of confidence in themselves to say, you know what? I don't care what anybody else thinks. I'm going to do this because I know that this is going to work for me.
Yeah. And that's a very good question, because a lot of people will ask, because they're when you have a passion, like when you believe in something, let me back up. There's kind of two camps and many more in between, but two types of people here. They're the ones that have the passion, have the beliefs, and you don't question it. It just is. You're not going to find your passion. You just have it and you don't question it. It just is. And then there are the ones that want to be doing something different, but they don't know what that is. And they need to cultivate that. And so I believe there's like a real myth of just find your passion. I've worked with so many people that have said, I don't know what my passion is. And then they make themselves wrong because they see others like us who have found, and we didn't find it. It was us. So we didn't to go through. So we can't really teach others how do you find your passion, and that you need to have a passion to start a business. You don't. Create it. You can create your passion. How do we open the door to that is to allude to to revert to what you had said earlier. Listen to yourself, right? And not make it I have to, but what do I love to do? And I take that back because it's bad advice too. What do I like to do? Who am I? What is important to me? What are like you and I can talk like this, and people listening maybe understanding my values, what's important to me. And for me, it's not a matter of finding what I need to do, because that's so many people get stuck on. I don't know what to do. How do I find what to do? I don't know. It's who am I, right? When I look at values, I'm fun, for instance, because it's a good tangible thing that we can understand. I don't do fun things, right? I don't seek fun outside of myself. I am fun. And then you begin to see through the lens of fun, right? Through the value lens of fun. So you begin to see opportunities of fun. And then, and connection, right? So for me, I didn't know I was going to be a coach. It didn't exist for me. And what I was doing beforehand was connection, making a difference, adventure, meaning variety and different. And when some of that was taken away, the fun, the adventure, that's when I went, sleep. So I know me. I am connection. I am contribution. I am creativity. I am adventure. I am variety, right? And whatever role that takes, right? Coaching to me is a vehicle. It is my vehicle for me to be me in the world. So my best advice to people that can't find their passion, and I realize that wasn't your question, but I'm going to answer it. Okay. Those who can't find their passion or struggle with following their passion, come home to you, right? Come home to me. And who am I? And it doesn't have to be about what I need to be doing as a role. Start, I am. And then you can look out into the world and say, what are the myriad of ways that I can be this in the world?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
makes
I love that advice. Absolutely. In a culture of do we have to do everything, this idea of being and accepting who you are and valuing that and going internally and reflecting on, okay, who am I? Or what qualities do I have? What strengths do I have? How can I leverage those things so that I can create this world or this life that I'm desiring, right? And I also loved your example of once your job took away all of these things that lit you up, that got you excited, that you found joy in, you were able to recognize that it was because those were parts of you that you were tapping into on a daily basis in the job previously, right? And you weren't able to do that anymore. And I think that's a really good example for people to maybe reflect on, right? Okay, if there's something about my job that I'm like not loving anymore, what piece of me is not being activated every day? And so I love that example.
nice. And your reflection back to me makes me think also that sometimes the answer isn't about stepping out and doing a new job or it's building your own business. That how can I, when we do tap into that, is it possible within my own environment? Because that is a career shift as well.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
that is a shift. Is there something in my current environment that I can step into, that I can step into differently in such a way that my values are met, but I am lit up, that excite me? Because that's why we're here. And living in this earthly existence is to be and to enjoy and to be present and to enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it if I can tell just a little story to highlight that, my husband, my now husband, when we first met in Africa on safari, and he's Danish, I'm Canadian, and we met. So right there, I knew this man was a good match for my values. So I thought, and it ends up being true, but we went through a little snag because to me, what is so important is that we love what we do. Because what we do, as I was saying, our careers are a vessel, right? That vehicle for us to be who we are in the world. And that is super important to me. And this man that I met on safari, so I said, so what is it that you do? What is your career? Like, I didn't word it exactly that way, but he said, family business. I don't like it. I don't care about it. Oh, he didn't say I don't like it because that'd be really negative. But he said, it's not really my thing, but it's what I'm doing for now until I find my thing. All right. But as time went on, because long little secret, I didn't go back to Canada. I went to Denmark. So I went straight from Africa to Denmark and never left. So it was really important to me that this man, and I told him this, it is very important to me to be with somebody who is engaged, who is connected, engaged with what they're doing, and it matters to them. So he changed. He thought, I don't know how to do this, but he figured it out, how to step in a new way and he created, this was my point, he didn't have passion for it. He created his passion within it. He created a new way of being, which created the new role in his company. And everything changed. Everything changed for him and then obviously for me.
Yeah. That's a great example. And it reminds me of one of my recent guests who said when she was loathing her job, right? She was complaining about it all the time. Her coach at the time said, tomorrow go into the office and look around and look for something that seems fun. And she's, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. But I did it. And she found something that, like this project she just took over And it was something that excited her, and it evolved, right? Like your husband's, it evolved into a whole new role that was created specifically because she looked for it. Yeah. So looking for opportunities and shifting your perspective, shifting.
Yeah. And that's it. That's shifting your perspective. Everything is perspective. Everything
Mhm.
is the meaning we give it. That's all that exists is the meaning we give something. So when you're saying shift the focus, right, by focusing on what is fun or what could be fun if I let it be, which leads to a state change. And from a positive state, right, whatever negative state, positive state, from a positive state, whatever emotion that comes from, that positive state create possibilities. That's where we create. That's where all of our resources and all of our resourcefulness and our possibilities come from state. So great advice from that coach.
Yeah.
Start with fun. Yeah, I love it.
Can you tell me, you mentioned when you changed to the life coach, you quit and you started this life coaching business. Was there like moments of self-doubt, or you said you didn't even think about it. So is there another career shift you made where you had some kind of doubt coming up or fears, and how did you work through those?
Fears, yes. Not always.
Yeah.
But how do we deal with them? But at the
Mhm.
time, so the doubt about what I was doing, no. But about what I was doing, no. But can I do this? And specific things within that, very scary. So my very first coaching gig, as it was, I was being asked to go to a First Nation in Canada on the island, their team day. They were asking me to facilitate their team day, which is really quite something because I'm not First Nations. And I was being asked to go and work for them and do this coaching work. So very intimidating, right? They talk about imposter syndrome. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. What? So very scary. So that kind of doubt, can I do this? And to that point, is this what I should be doing? So yes, those things happen. And it was very scary because there were two people on that team that were very educated, but they were educated as I am. They were educated. They looked at me like, this is silly. Why is this girl being asked to come and do this? And I knew that. And that was very intimidating. And I had to suck it up. So yeah, that kind of advice, what I say to my clients now and have been for many years, this is what I signed up for, right? So when we say yes to something, when we say yes to starting our own business, or we say yes to this new position, this is what you're saying yes to. What else are you saying yes to other than the freedom of time and money, everything that we believe business or a new career gives us? That's all the fun stuff. That's all the sparkly stuff. What else are you saying yes to? So knowing that you will need moments of courage, right? That you just need to, but having that vision that is bigger, that immediate fear, because yeah, for sure. And that was 10 years later, I was in Scotland and meeting with the CFO. And usually in my kind of work, I would meet with HR or meet with very non-intimidating people for me. But then I get this CFO and I'm like, uh-oh, because he's the numbers guy, right? Because our people that love doing what we do, Brittany, they love this, right? We love human evolvement, human development and involvement. And we love this stuff. We geek out on it. This guy, too much. And I ended up meeting many gatekeepers, the ones that I would need to. But where it all led to was me typically always meeting with the CEO, the director, the owner, and I'm talking big companies because they bought into this. They bought into, if we can teach our people that not only how to think differently, but first inspire them that they can think in a new way to create new results. If we can harness the genius of the team, and very inspiring. So what was once very scary to me this is the point, right? What was once very scary to me became something I love to do, right? Love to. Whereas the beginning was like, just let me do the work as opposed to all the other stuff. And so that another piece of advice that we can pull out from it is whatever it is in the business that you didn't say yes to when you dreamed of this, learn to make it fun. Learn to make it part of who you are.
Yeah.
That makes,
Yeah. Sorry, just collecting thoughts.
I do talk a lot.
Oh, no, you're fine. Yeah. So this idea of starting to say yes to things that are going to get you closer to your goals and having the bigger vision, right? Like you need a why behind what you're doing. And we all know that work is work and life gets hard and things come up. And it's a matter of, do I push through or do I give up? And if you have a vision of what you're working towards, then ultimately saying yes to the things that need to get done in order to reach that goal is going to be necessary. So how invested are you? And then this idea of, sorry, it made me think of another story that I heard. So hold on.
Sure. But the brain is working.
Yeah. Oh, this idea of, it might seem scary, but if there's any part of you that is, I can do this, or I could be good at this, or like that is an indicator that you can push through the hard. And on the other side is going to be, like you said, you learned to love that piece of it. And so it all comes from practice and repetition. One of my coaches says you have to do it 100 times before you're even any good at it. It's just one of those things, but don't let that fear stop you. I think of like public speaking and how that's hard for a lot of people. But if there's something within you that's probably like, you'll probably be pretty good at it. You just have to practice more and gain that confidence. And oh, I thought it was also funny when you said you went to that retreat and you were like, not retreat, whatever. And the two people above you were, what is she doing here?
Yep.
And I've been in that situation too. And I'm sure tons of other people have. And it's what you just continue to show up and do the best that you can. And over time, like at least for me, over time, those people, which ultimately doesn't matter what they think of you, but those people that were intimidating once then become your teammate. And so
Brilliant.
we gotta just write it out and do the best you can until they recognize, oh yeah, she does deserve to be in the room with me.
I love that you shared that story because that's going to help people, just many people listening, to be able to keep moving forward. And when you were saying that particular example, one person didn't show up. So he was just like, nope. And the woman, so that was a he, and then the woman part, and it doesn't matter gender-wise, but she came and was like, like sitting the whole time. And at some point, something shifted. And long story short, or dialed to the end of that retreat, wherever that was. At the end, we had to drive back. We were in a northern island where we flew in little airplanes and stuff, but we had to drive back for about an hour. And she wanted to sit in the back seat with me to keep talking. I know. So what makes that so special is, or in understanding, how did all of that happen? I let go of needing to perform. Everybody, people like us, and who I'm sure you're attracting in your podcast and your audience, the people that are coming here are seeking inspiration, right? Seeking, I want to make a shift. And there's that calling that you were saying within them, right? That's something within them. And what I'm hearing you say, Brittany, is listen to her, right? Listen. And that's one part. And the second is, when you are serving, when you listen to yourself and want to make a difference in the world, make the world a better place, in your own unique way, you to be present. The advice is be present to that. It's not about performing.
Yeah.
Just put your attention on, I am here to help, and whoever will listen and whoever I can help. And everybody listens through their own filters, through their own of the world. So the fellow that was there that day, he wasn't there to hear me. He could not, because of the meaning he gave me. There was no rapport, no opening. So I was to impress him. And her, same thing. Either it was going to connect or it wasn't. And the other people in the room, everybody else that you can help, because this is the biggest shame. It's if you do give up, if you do stop, if you do shrink who you are, who loses? Right? Who else? That one hater?
Yeah.
Everybody that is dialed into you, right? That does resonate with you, that can learn from you. So just really being excited and enthusiastic and believing in that truth that we all are here to make the world a better place. And as I say, one conversation at a time. My coaching, changing the world, one conversation at a time. Now I come online and I do it one conversation too many instead of 1-to-1.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you for pulling out some of those pieces that I was like trying to say, but wasn't quite.
That's the beauty of these podcasts, that in dialogue, I think we learn so much more rather than just listening to people talk at people, right? When we're here, we're dialoguing with everybody, all of you that are listening. We're all in this dialogue together.
Yeah, and we all can relate on some level, right? Yeah, that's the goal, to pull something from your experience that resonates. Oh, I could do this instead, or maybe I can try that. Again, I know you said you wanted to talk about, so we'll talk about your business kind of at the end a little bit, just so you can tell people about what you do. And so, did you want to talk about the current economy and model of employment?
Now, what I mean by that, because your podcast and the people that are listening are interested in making a career shift. And as we said, whether that's within their current environment, shifting to another employment situation, building their own, whatever form that takes, we're looking for change.
Yeah.
Right. And there's usually two reasons, and hopefully there are two reasons. One for fulfillment, to be in alignment and congruent with who we really are. So we don't have to perform. We don't have to live with these shoulds anymore. Because I truly believe we've only got one shot at being here. Quick digression here, but this is it, people. We have one shot. This is my earthly existence as Stacy. Irrespective of whatever we all believe about what happens afterwards, you are Brittany and I am Stacy, and this is our one shot.
Mm-hmm.
And let's make it good. Right?
Yeah.
Let's good. So that's what inspires me most. And what is the other thing, right? So the fulfillment, and the second thing is money, right? It's finances. Money isn't the point. We all understand that, right? It's not about the money, but it is about the money, insofar as money is in the middle of everything. Money is the exchange, right? It is the agreed collective agreement of the currency that we exchange. Money is the resource that fuels everything. And one could say it doesn't fuel my going for a walk in nature, but it does in an indirect way, because if you didn't have the money, you would be working 2 jobs, 16 hours a day, and not be that nice leisurely walk in nature.
Yeah.
So does money buy the walk in nature? No. But does money and your relationship with it affect everything? It does. So one of my missions in life is to help good people make more money, because when good people have more money, only good things can happen, right? It's going to make the world a better place, because we don't need to have the world run by people who want to see who can build the tallest skyscraper or who can pee the furthest, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas we want money in the hands of people and in the hearts, hands of people that want to collaborate, want to connect, want to create, and want to make the world a better place. And as Pollyanna as that may sound, it's not. That's very realistic, right? We want the world to be a better place. We need the world to be a better place for our survival.
Yeah.
And then survival or thrive. Thrival? Anybody?
Thrival. Yeah.
Making up words. But I like it. It's fun. Those are the two reasons, right? For we need to understand money better and more and build that wealth. So the point of the economy, the current economy is such that people in working for companies, how do I say this? Salaries aren't keeping up to the cost, inflation and costing. And what is inflation? You look at the properties around the world and they're up. And how can you possibly buy, right? People are looking where I'm from, Vancouver, where I live now, everywhere. It's just not everywhere, but most places, prices are going up so high, and they're going up so high because the people with money and with assets buy more assets and make more, and buy more assets and buy more money. So this whole the richer getting richer and the poor getting poorer and the middle class disappearing, it's true. And the economy, companies, I invest a lot in the stock market now, so I study and understand money and investing so much differently than I did before. So now I understand companies are there to serve their shareholders. They are not to take care of their people. And yes, will they have some nice programs within the company, or are there the exceptions in these are there exceptions? And there are companies that serve people, absolutely. But mostly these corporations are there to serve the shareholders, which means serve the market. They're not there to serve the people. So our salaries are not keeping up with the cost, right? Long story short. So in this current economy, if you want any sense of agency, your own personal agency over your life and financial independence for yourself, and to be able to not worry about paying the bill or month to month, or one of my clients was saying how she used to, or how she at this one point went with her child, her young son, for dinner, and he doesn't know any differently. He's looking, going, I'll have the steak. So he picked this one, I'll have the steak. And she said, it broke my heart. You can't have that. Oh, so in this current economy, my belief is, and it's not everything is belief. So my belief is that we need to create our own, right? Because the companies were not, and I know I had said earlier that you can find your joy within companies, and absolutely. And if that's the case, and you have less effect over your income, then you have to be very good at being CEO, the CFO of your own finances. How am I going to grow that? How am I going to build? So we teach all of that, right? Investing, getting money working for you. But the biggest lever in wealth is your income. So in this economy, this is the solution, that we create our own. And then that comes with, how do I charge for this? Can I do it? Am I worthy? All the doubts. But that stuff, quite honestly, is not that difficult once you know how the brain works, how the mind works, thinking, feeling, results, right? Once you know how to talk to that part of you that wants to stop you, then you learn how to work with it and listen more to your higher self. It's a process, but it's fun and it's true. So that's where I wanted to share with that and inspire others that believe it's possible to, or believe that it's possible, or want to believe that it's possible to create your own and have that agency to create your own income. grow that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It makes me think of a lot of things, in particular, like my experience. So I would say one of the things about working in the education system for me was I felt like I wasn't important, like I wasn't taken care of, that other things, I call them higher ups, or doing whatever and not really considering the teachers. And so that was one thing that I struggled with. And now being in corporate, I found that it's coming up for me again when there are like decisions made by the higher ups that are affecting me. And I'm like frustrated with it. And it's just been interesting because I've been able to reflect on I've had jobs outside of education as well, outside of corporate. So I'm just like to see the parallels across every company I've worked for, and to realize, yeah, there are some things I don't have power over. I don't have that agency over. I'm at the mercy of whatever is decided by, like you said, the CEOs, the shareholders, the whoever. And so how do I want to deal with that? And so that's been something that's come up for me. And then and then talking about money as a tool, right? Money is a tool to help us do the thing that we want to do. And it's interesting how we all put different meanings on money. We all have different money stories, right? And how that affects how we live our lives. But I love the comparison of if I didn't have enough money to have leisure time to go on a walk, right? Like, then I would be working 2 jobs. And I think that's just an interesting like thing to consider, right? Because I know there are different people listening that are in very different like financial situations, right? Like this idea of just leaving your job and starting your own business, like it seems a little bit far-fetched because of the financial situation that they're in right now. But recognizing what is that balance that you're looking for in your life, and where are the privileges that you're maybe taking for granted a little bit based on your current income. And
Yeah.
I don't know, how can you more in that energy of things, right? The gratitude energy and the more positive aspects of
Yeah.
your financial situation currently. I don't know. This is like a random tangent.
Well, good kind of tangent, because it circles back to when you're saying about the appreciation and the gratitude, it circles right back to we create best from a positive state. And this isn't about Pollyanna, but bottom line, we create from a state, whether it's frustrated, annoyed, resentful state, or a hopeful, optimistic, enthusiastic state. And what fuels that for me, what the truth is, we have to believe it's possible. So I hear you when I say, I hear you when I say, I hear you when you say, what about the people that are in a really tough financial situation now, and just a really shitty situation, right? Where they are struggling, and this idea of just starting your own business is not possible. My question is, then what is? Step by step. And what stops a lot of people is they're needing it to be the end before they even start.
Yeah.
Step by step. And our sense of personal agency, right? Or what do I have control over? What can I impact? What can I cause? We have to have that. And so that's the work I do with. The very first thing is handling this money objection, because we make money what stops us from creating what, ironically, will turn around and make us money.
Yeah.
So the very first entry-level program that we do is the financial fundamentals for freedom-seeking female entrepreneurs, right? But it's true because it is freedom-seeking, and it's not even being fueled by what do I want to have? It's what do I want to experience? And by that, what my multiple 7-figure net worth now, because I've created it, it's freedom. It's freedom of choice, freedom of time, which is it's choice. It's the freedom, the flexibility, it's options, opportunities. My day, I get to create every day. What do I say yes to? What do I say no to? And of course, you don't have that when you start because you're working a job. You might be working a job and a half. You might be working 2 jobs. But where can you pull those little bits out to start your own, give you that agency that I've got this, I can do this, taking $5 a month and putting that into the market because I'm an investor. When you take on when you adopt the identity of I'm an investor, your lens to the world, you begin to see your world through the lens of investor. So how what I'm depending on becomes how am I allocating my resources, right? What is an investment? An investment could very much just be buying flowers, which you can't see right now, but the plant. A lot of flowers and plants because it makes me feel good, right? It lifts. But then other things, clothes, not so much, like fashion, all of that, doesn't matter so much. So I don't spend there. So we talk a lot about choosing and intentionality with our spending. So again, picking out just those little kernels that what can I do today to begin that story, knowing it's possible. You have to believe, you have to know that it is possible.
Yeah.
People, I'll say this because I think it's so important. People will argue for their limitation, right? Why are you resisting this resource? Because finances, money, abundance is all around us. It's everywhere. Why are you resisting this resource? That's the work, the inner work. We need to change the inner landscape before the outer world will be created differently.
Yes, absolutely. Can you talk about some maybe resources people can use to start honing in on that belief in themselves?
Some resources.
Like, how do we, like, we're surrounded by the same thing every day, right? Which is maybe like influencing our thinking. And how do we start inserting new information, right? To start shifting that belief.
Your people are here already listening, right? So your podcast is a really good first start. And I would say just looking at I think this idea of modeling others, right? Looking, if you don't believe it's possible for you right now in your condition, look for inspiration, right? Who else has, and we know it's there, right? We know it's everywhere that people have gone from here to here. And if it's possible for them, it's possible for you. So I would say start learning how to think, see the world differently. So in the morning, when I started my little coaching journey, which I love so much, when I started, my favorite, and I still do this to the day, what do I want to see more of today? So I'm going to show you my new fun reader glasses. They're only for readers, so I have to get really close. They're from the US. I live in Portugal, so I should say. So our shopping is a bit limited here. I love these. So putting on the lens of possibility. So it might be in the morning. Oh, I can't look that way. It makes me dizzy. But what am I looking for? So whatever we ask our brain to look for, our brain will begin to see. That's the way the brain works. We know that, right? The reticular activating system. We know that. So begin to look for what you want to see. Begin to look for those stories, those examples of people that were in your shitty situation who got out of it and did things differently. Just to begin to take that, we take a belief that this is not possible. And the first thing we do, rather than it's not possible to, they're now a millionaire, right? Too big of a jump.
Yeah.
My work is the very first thing we do is we take a belief, something we believe to be true. This is not possible for me. All I want to do at the beginning is take that and turn it into a doubt, right? Belief is, I believe this to be true. A doubt, what if it wasn't true? Is it possible? Is it possible it's not true? Is it possible something else is possible? So just that easy, and notice the way I'm belief, this, doubt. So use your body, right? Whenever you begin that ego self that's trying to keep us small, she's also trying to keep us safe. So say, thank you, little Stacy. Thank you. I don't need you right now, but I know you have good intentions. You have a good heart. But let her go. I don't know where I was going with that. That's so funny. But listening to her, right? Hearing that. And at the same time, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're talking about your body. Like,
Yes, you're using your body. Thank you. And here I put my hand up. So using your body with, notice how a belief is firm and a doubt is like this, right? It's more loose. So I was just saying, engaging that, your physiology, right? Your physicality, engaging that to help you shift your state. So every time, thank you. Every time, hope maybe you can edit this differently. Every time that belief, right, that negative Nelly pops up, whoop, right, we begin to look at her, pull her away. I do this to this day, Brittany, 20 years later. That thought comes up, rather than just, oh, what does that mean? I pull her out. I use my hand. I pull her out and I go, you again. No, thank you. Whatever that is, but no, thank you. Fly away. Fly away. I don't need you. So using our physicality. And another really good one is our brains. I'm not sure how our video here worked, but this is my right eye. And I look up because I'm right-handed. I look up and to the right, and that's where I'm engaging the future. I'm creating possibilities with my cerebral brain. When I'm down to my left, I'm in what is called auditory digital, and I'm in that negative loop. Remember when we're in that, things are going negative and you're down. Now that you notice, you're going to catch yourself. Yeah, and down. So I literally do this. Up to the right. So silly. What is possible? I do that. And I go up like this. And because it's a little silly, I'll be walking on the street. I'll be walking on the seawall, the paradigm. And I will do that. And it's a bit silly. And it changes state because it makes me laugh at how silly I'm being.
yeah.
And again, who cares what the rest of the world thinks, because they don't notice you, because they're in their own head.
Yeah.
Most of them are in their own auditory digital. And the ones that out here, they know, they can feel you, they see you, they feel that energy, and they know it, and that they connect and go, I see you. You're happy. You're good.
Interesting. I love that.
Hopefully some of that made sense.
Yeah. I love that visual. And yeah, it just is interesting. Oh, we're down to the wire. Sorry. Yeah. No, I love that. Getting your whole body engaged, because a lot of times we're so stuck like up here. Yeah. Let's move that energy.
Yeah. And that just circles right back to what we brought up throughout: state. We create from state of mind.
Yes.
Put yourself in a good state before you try to find solutions and create. So to your point of some practical tips, knowing that we create from state, when you're trying to solve a problem or create a new solution, do whatever it takes to put yourself in a good state first. That's one. Another, as I said, whether it's $5, $10, whatever it is, start putting that money away, because it's you having agency, you saying, I've got this. You know what? I'm on my way. It's not about what I have today. It's about who I am being today that's doing these new things, that's creating new results. And that end will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. We just always want it right now. But as long as you're taking the small steps a little bit every day, you will get to your destination. Yeah.
And though it's not just about those small steps, because that advice used to annoy me.
Yeah.
Because it just is doing something, because, and it's not who you are today doing something new. The point is that who you are becoming, right? Your identity is shifting.
Yeah.
We can't change what we do. Think about a diet. We go on a diet, start exercising, and then we stop because it's not who we are. We need to change who we are. We need to change our identity, our beliefs. And that's where the juicy work. That's where the juicy stuff is and lives. Yeah. Oh, yes, I could talk for hours, so my apology.
No worries. So as we wrap up, can you tell people a little bit about your business, what you offer, and how they can connect with you if people are interested in learning more from you?
Sure. I can say it quickly because we have already talked about it a bit. My business is Women Wired for Wealth, right? You can find that at womenwiredforwealth.com. We do Mind Your Money sessions. So teaching both the psychology energy as well as the skills and strategy of building wealth, and a financial fundamental or financial fundamentals for those freedom seeking female entrepreneurs and the wannabe entrepreneurs, right? That have that in them, whether they're doing it or not. Because it really is about changing our relationship with money. What does that mean? Meaning, how do we see money and do money differently so it becomes our resource? And it is abundant. Money is everywhere. Stop resisting this resource. It's there. And as I said, when we give more money to good people, only good things happen.
Awesome. Stacy, thank you so much for being here. Always a pleasure
You-
to chat with you. And I appreciate your time. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. Keep well.
Thanks. I want to thank Stacy again for being a guest on the podcast. As you can tell, she has a wealth of wisdom and loves what she does. So if you are interested in working with her to achieve your financial goals, check out her information in the show notes. If you enjoyed this or any other episode of the Shift Your Day Job podcast, please do me a favor and leave a review. Reviews help our show grow and reach more people. I really believe in the importance of this topic of helping women realize that they too can make career pivots and not let fear or doubt or societal pressures hold them back. So please help spread the word. Write a review, refer a friend to listen to the podcast, and connect with me on Instagram. Let me know your thoughts. If you have any suggestions for other episode topics, or maybe you know somebody who has a great story to tell that they can share on the podcast. Again, thank you for being here. I'm so grateful that you follow and support my show. I hope you join me again next week as we listen to more incredible stories of women who have made the leap from one career to another. I'm your host, Brittany Cates, and together, let's shift your day job.